what you all been waiting for, ain't it?
I really like the concept of superheroes, and I think it's had a significant influence on Western media. The idea of a person suddenly going from a normal life to a life where they constantly throw themselves in harm's way to save other people is a really great and inspirational form of fantasy. Especially when they have a secret identity, it allows us as readers to relate and grapple with the same problems they have. I'm only really referring to Peter, Miles, and Gwen, and a few of the other spiders that people really like. There's no way any of you, when I say any of you, can relate to Batman.
Get your money up, not your funny up.
Then again, most of you probably couldn't relate to Spider-Man either. Alright, I'm going to talk about secret identities, but first I'm going to ask you, what do you think identity is? Or how well do you know yourself? I'm asking you, James, Noah, or John. I said those names because they're super common. But the definition of identity is the distinguishing character or personality of an individual. Every person has their own identity. They know what their name is, they know what their favorite things are, and every individual has their own dream, even their own preferred partner in mind. So the idea of a secret identity is so intriguing in any context, really. This character could be a hero, they could be a villain, and unless revealed, people will know them as portrayed. An extremely cool monologue from the movie Kill Bill talks about identities as well, but in this manner. I'm gonna use his monologue, and I'm gonna use an extremely fitting voice. Just you wait, watch this.
A staple of the superhero mythology is there's the superhero and alter ego. Batman is Bruce Wayne, Spider-Man is actually Peter Parker. When that character wakes up in the morning, he's Peter Parker. He has to put on a costume to become Spider-Man. And it is in that characteristic Superman stands alone. Superman didn't become Superman. Superman was born Superman. When Superman wakes up in the morning, he's Superman.
I'm sorry, you guys probably hated that, but he further explains that his alter ego is Clark Kent, and the glasses and business suit are his costume, and that Clark Kent is how Superman views us as humans. This monologue is much longer, but it speaks on identity very well. To us, with a third-person omniscient view, we see that Peter and Bruce are both Batman and Spider-Man, but to others, within the story, Spider-Man isn't Peter and Peter isn't Spider-Man. By saying that Peter puts on the costume to become Spider-Man, he's saying that Peter adopts the identity of Spider-Man. It's the same way with Bruce, which is a very obvious point, but if I'm being honest, Peter still is kind of Spider-Man without the suit because he still has the powers without the suit. This is more like a sub point, but it has to do with masks. Here's a quote from a poem I'm sure most of you have heard. Do you wear the mask, or does the mask wear you? To break it down, this question asks you, does the version of yourself that you put on display for people control you? A great example I feel of this is the place you work. You obviously don't share your personal feelings and other parts of yourself at work, so you're using a good 10 to 50% of your actual personality, making you form a work personality, a more professional version of yourself, but it's still you. Superheroes take this but turn it up to the max. Heroes like Daredevil, Spider-Man, Batman really let the work personality control their lives. Peter rarely has a normal day, much less even a normal full night of sleep. Not to mention, for a while he actually had a mask that wore him. Aside from all the joking, heroes wear masks for a reason, to protect the ones they love, to protect themselves, but it goes the same for real people like us. They'll wear a mask in order to protect their feelings, so they won't be hurt again by what hurt them in the past, letting this mask control them, only taking it off when they feel comfortable. Or maybe some of you intentionally hide your parts of yourself, not as a form of protection, but to manipulate others into thinking you're a different person. Do you wear a mask? But some masks are just cool and iconic, which makes this really just a matter of perspective. So yeah. Superheroes have always had this iconic aesthetic, which most non-DC and Marvel stories try to replicate. Most of them are pretty successful and even add their own crazy twist on the whole superhero and villain back and forth. It's not just flashy costumes or crazy battles, it's the deep-rooted essence of what a superhero represents. It's kind of like superhero archetypes, right? Does that make sense? You got your happy to help Boy Scout superhero like Captain America and Superman. And you got your dark and brooding Batman clones. And even Spider-Man with his relatable struggles can be considered an archetype. But these archetypes aren't just static tropes. They're symbolic of something bigger, something timeless. One other thing that both Marvel and DC do is mix sci-fi with fantasy really well. If you haven't noticed, on one end of the spectrum, you have your super scientists who get their powers from cosmic rays. And then on the other end, you have your surgeons who suddenly become powerful wizards. That's the superhero aesthetic, a blending of perfect concepts culminating in really good Western fantasy. When it's written properly, I might add, because a couple comics and a couple movies lately haven't been the best, but I'll continue. Going back to what I was saying, one of the most brilliant examples of this superhero aesthetic outside of Marvel and DC, in my opinion, is The Incredibles. It takes the relatability of a married life, which a lot of you don't have that, and the not so relatability of a superhero life, which all of us don't have that, and gets rid of the super one. at the start of the movie. But when you see Bob in his state, he's depressed and he feels like me when I'm at work and I have to close with a team lead I really don't like. But 10 times worse, especially since he works for an insurance company, which is his way of still saving people. But The Incredibles is an excellent movie and it pokes fun at how villains monologue. But The Incredibles is great commentary on the double life of a hero, as well as like a family situation, which, yeah. For this segment, I wanted to sound very philosophical, like, what makes a hero? But if this video did make it clear, I really like Spider-Man. Besides all the nonsense and marital drama, I mean, yeah, I could ask, is it the powers? Is it the desire for justice? Or is it the fact that some heroes would go all the way for someone else? And I think no. I mean, yeah, all these make sense, but it's the choice, I feel. These people choose to be a hero despite the hardships they face. They choose to wear their masks and save people. Once again, Peter, despite what his Uncle Ben told him, didn't have to become Spider-Man. He internalized what Uncle Ben said and chose to become Spider-Man in the original context, but now it's destiny. It's destiny for certain people to be Spider-Man and experience the same events. And I think that's an interesting way to go at it as well. Imagine being destined to live a life like this. Imagine if you were destined to save people. If there was a reluctant hero stuck in his fate, which is saving people with powers he never wanted, facing villains he hates, but it's his fate and he can never return to a normal life. It's also self-sacrifice, which is another choice. And once again, Peter gives up jobs, women, education, general happiness, and comfort, all to save little Timmy who ran into the street, which in Peter's mind is a very good sacrifice. Next is empathy, which Peter, again, despite all his own flaws, tries to understand villains and tries his hardest to get them to be good. Of course, money talks, but he sees humanity in others where they don't see it in themselves. Next is the loss, the unseen cost and pangs of being a hero. And obviously, once again, Peter, it's crazy. I don't even have to explain how much suffering Peter has gone through recently. Like, I don't even have to like explain and like think about that. Like, y'all know exactly how much nonsense that they've been putting him through. And I'm only talking so I can reach 7 minutes. I think that being a hero requires a lot of personal reflection. It takes a lot of morals as well. Every hero has a code that they follow so they don't take it too far, so that they remain not only sane, but human. Most heroes would hate to resort to killing as it's really barbaric. Take Frank Castle, the Punisher, and Captain America. Cap really doesn't like the Punisher as he's willing to kill any murderer or thief without remorse, and Cap thinks he's insane. It's these different moral codes and personal opinions that alter the way someone acts as a hero and how they interact with others. It takes a lot to look at someone who's a murderer and try to come to an understanding with them so they don't kill anymore. You have to look at yourself as well and notice how being a hero changes you. That's pretty much it for this video, guys. I just wanted to say I really like superheroes. This is a part of the I really like series, even though it probably won't look like it. Also, I'm sorry this took so long. I was playing ROcraft. I got addicted to playing it, and I added a vampirism mod to it. I was trying to level up as a vampire in that game. And if you know anything about ROcraft, it's kind of extremely hard to do anything in that game. And here's the recipe for one of the things you have to craft in order to level up. Anyways, if you guys enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe so I don't have to work with that team leader anymore. Please. I'm begging you. Please. Thank you. Please, man. Please.
Dear God, love Jesus.
Peace.
Peace.
In case I don't see ya, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.